Once retirement was the reward after decades of hard work, but today 1 in 4 Americans fear they may never reach that finish line.
Yeah, we all need to be concerned, and you all need to be concerned as younger Americans. It is very easy to have a good job and end up in my predicament at my age, which is 59, where you don't have any savings to retire, and you know, it's a struggle to pay bills. And considering that a bag of chips is as much as an hour minimum wage pay is pretty messed up. But anyway, we all have to, think about solutions, and solutions aren't billionaires running our government for sure.
Okay, here's something that most people probably don't really think about, because you're so used to seeing the elderly and maybe your own grandparents, the boomers, that have their pensions, retirements, and you know that money's tight. They use coupons, they don't do much, but they manage, they get by. Most people going forward, especially if you're probably like under 50, you will never retire. Almost nobody will in the future. There's so many things that have gone wrong between the inflation, the complete removal of pensions. Even a lot of pensions that are out there are going to have trouble one day with the markets. You could talk about the national debt, you could talk about pending interest rates, but there's so much going on. I think Denmark, even over in Europe, they just pushed their retirement age to 70. That's what we're trying to do right now. We're basically going to have to push Social Security back. Nobody's going to get rid of Social Security. What they're going to do is they're going to push it back so far that you'll be dead before you ever get it. And it's because it's really an illiquid system. I think for every 2 people paying into it, there's somebody receiving it. The government has leached off of Social Security for so long. Then what they did is they attached the Social Security Disability Fund, which is, the last I checked, probably somewhere around 13 million people are collecting off of it. And that comes from Social Security also. So people used to get the full amount at 62.5. That's crazy inflation. And then even with that, you'll hear people say that, I can't live off of that. And what they do is they have another retirement. Like my parents, they're lucky. They did good. They were both retired military, and then they became teachers, and then they just retired as teachers. So they're basically both double retired, and now they get Social Security. My generation will get nothing. I did not work in the government. That's great for all those government workers out there that will get all those taxpayer pensions. But what about the rest of us that pay into it? We're going to get nothing. I won't have a pension from a job because jobs don't give pensions anymore. And Social Security won't be there at the full amount at 62.5 like it was for your parents. You'll have to wait till you're 70 minimum. And by the time you get to that age, if you can hold out to 70 to try to get the full amount, they'll have pushed it back to 72, 74. The point is they need everybody to keel over because they don't have the money to give you anymore. The good old days are done. Inflationary pressure is still there, and it's going to keep going because your government doesn't know how to stop printing money. They don't know how to stop printing money, funding foreign wars, and doing things that basically destroy our dollar. And they just don't know how to stop. And the past 20, 30, 40 years of these politicians are going to have ruined everything for your generation and your children's. So it's interesting just when you think about it, like what happens when you get older? What happens when you turn 50 or 55 or 60 and let's say you're in a job that has manual labor and your back goes out or your knees go out? Well, they're going to start making it harder, I think, to even get Social Security disability because, again, it's becoming an illiquid fund. So just what's going to happen to people? My prediction is in about 10 years from now, I know a lot of areas homelessness has increased, but I really think in about 10 years, you're going to see a whole lot of homeless people. And I think America is going to become this weird place that almost dystopian, where it's just going to basically be the haves and the have-nots. It's already there. The middle class is already somewhat eroded out, but there's still a little bit left. Most people are tapped out on credit cards, have almost no savings, and are paycheck to paycheck. I've made a video about that before. As of last year, about 2 out of 3 people didn't even have $500 in their account of liquid money in case something happens. So you got like 2 out of 3 people in this country that are basically a paycheck away from becoming homeless. Now, when the homelessness crisis starts to really hit, because people will lose everything, they won't be able to afford a home, won't be able to afford anything. This will also come if you have a major recession or a depression in the future. But as of right now, I'm just saying, as your age, we're just only talking about your age alone. But what's going to happen to people when they get to that age where they can't work anymore? They're really, really struggling to work. Those days of retiring at 60 or 55, they're over. I don't think people pretty soon will ever retire. I think you'll have to work until you unalive.
Retirement has become a serious issue in America. More and more people are worried, and for good reasons. Get this, 78% of millennials now expect to work past the traditional retirement age just to feel financially secure. And here's the real problem. The retirement age keeps getting pushed further and further. People are being asked to work longer than ever just to maybe collect the benefits they were promised. That's why it's time to start thinking seriously about alternative retirement plans. If your entire strategy is just to green away until that official retirement age and then hope there'll be money waiting for you, that might not work out. Why? Because there are two big reasons. The first one is by the time you finally reach that age, your body and health might not let you enjoy retirement at all. And the second one is the goalposts keep moving. The longer you wait, the further they push it, and you may never quite catch up.
Nurses are not eligible to retire until we're 67 years old. We have to work until we're 67 in order to receive full benefits. But they've blessed us with the opportunity for increased benefits if we work till age 70. Most of our patients are gone by age 70. The military, they get to retire after 20 years of service. The police, they get to retire after 20 years of service. Firefighters, they get to retire after 25 years of service. And teachers, they get to retire after 30 years of service. Of just those 4 professions that I've mentioned, all 4 of them have some form of protection. The police, it's obvious. The military, it's obvious. Firefighters have protection in order to do their job. There are efforts made to protect teachers, other staff, students. I get really angry when I think about this because as nurses, we don't have any form of protection. We are expected to be abused. We are discouraged from filing a police report. Actually, they'll find a way to fire us if we try to do that because they're not going to look like they didn't try to protect their nurses and their patients. And then if we are assaulted, we get asked, what could you have done differently? And during the assault, we're told to de-escalate. I'm like, how does the military de-escalate the enemy? How do the police de-escalate the criminal? What form of protection are firefighters allowed to wear in order to protect themselves? Typically when the fire department is called, the police are dispatched as well. And schools have police officers on their campus. Police officers with weapons. We come to work with a pair of scrubs. That's it. And we can't leave this profession until we're 67 in order to receive full benefits. And if they convince us to stay until we're 70, we can get increased benefits. 70 years old. And with our title comes Nurses Save Lives. Who's saving ours? Nobody is saving our lives. They are taking our lives from us.
We need to talk about raising the retirement age. I don't know why everybody's afraid of raising the retirement age. We're working, we're living longer, and we're working longer anyway. And let me nobody actually, retires and then goes and jumps on the hammock.
Absolutely not. Stop. The Millennials and Gen Zers, we're still going through the grieving process of losing the American dream, not even being able to buy a house. Now you want to kick the can down the road and have us work till we're 75? We've been in a building from 9 to 5 since we were 4 years old. We go to school from 4 to 24. Then we thought we were going to work for 40 years, which is already exhausting enough. Now you want to kick the can down till we're 80 years old? We're working 2 jobs. Not because we're going to go buy a lake house or get a pool or go on a vacation. We're working 2 jobs just so we can afford to split rent with another adult. 30s and 40-year-olds are living with roommates because they can't afford shit, working 50 hours plus driving Uber on the weekends, and now he wants to retire later. You know what the politicians are going to do? They're starting to talk about all this shit now. They're going to wait until the final boomer actually retires. Then they're going to want to raise the retirement age so that the millennials and Gen Zs get fucked because they don't want to lose any votes from the boomer generation. So no.
And here's something else to consider. What if those retirement benefits you're counting on aren't really there when you need them? That's why it's so important to start thinking right now. What are your backup options? Do you have any assets? Could you start building something now, like investing in real estate, bitcoins, or another stream of income? And if retiring comfortably in the US isn't look realistic, are there other countries where your money might go further and your quality of life could actually be better? I have a family member who worked most of his life here in the US, and now he is retired in Europe, living much better than he ever could have back home just by using his US dollars. My family and I have also started asking those questions. If we can't afford to retire here, what else might we go? Because the truth is, you never know what's going to happen. And waiting until the last minute to think about retirement, that's a risk no one can afford. Just something to think about. I hope this video gave you a few things to reflect on yourself. And if you're nearing retirement age now, I really love to hear from you. Are you feeling confident about retirement? Are you still figuring it out? Have you considered alternatives or even thought about retiring outside the US? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for watching and see you in the next video.